Please be seated. We give thanks to the grace of the Lord for guiding us into another day. So we begin the day in prayer, and we ask the Lord through prayer. We ask the Lord to grant us the strength that we may be able to make every day fruitful for our spiritual life. So in our morning reading this morning, our reading is in Mark chapter 5. So this morning, the reading is from Mark chapter 5, from verse 1 to verse 20. That in here, the Bible record a demon-possessed man, how Jesus came, how Jesus found him, and how Jesus delivered him out of his misery. The same story was recorded. The same story was found in Matthew, in Mark, and also in Luke. So basically, in the synoptic gospel, the first three gospel, that in the synoptic gospel, that we are able to find the same recording for the same person with the same miracle, because that this miracle provides some important significance for you and I to learn. That's why you are able to find this miracle in all three gospels. Let's turn to Mark chapter 5, verse 1. Then they came to the other side of the sea, to the country of Gadarenes. And when he had come out of the boat, immediately there met him out of the tomb a man with an unclean spirit. So beginning, it described that Jesus went to a place called Gadarenes. There are different names for this place. It was also known as Gerasenes. So there are the different names that were used for this location. In fact, we are unable to 100% identify exactly where is this place. There are different theories that different Bible scholar that they believe that this is in the different places. But in most of the reference that they believe that in most of the reference that they believe that Gadarenes, that this place is on the other side of the Sea of Galilee. So still, this is within the territory of the land of Israel. Still within the territory of Israel. So as we read in the morning regarding to this miracle, that we have that the Bible record a pitiful man who lived in the tomb, who used the stone to cut himself, who shout in agony day and night, and who were chained and living in misery. But in here, the Bible says that Jesus came, Jesus found him, and Jesus cast the demon out of him. But in this miracle, there were some quite unique description, unique recording. That in here we found that there was a conversation between Jesus and the demon. That the demon say to Jesus that do not harm us, do not cause us in more harm. So Jesus asked the demon, what is your name? And then the demons say, we are legion because we are many. And then, as we know how the story went, that the demon end up enter into the pigs, enter into the swine in verse 11. Now, chapter 5, verse 11. Now a large herd of swine was feeding there, near the mountain. So the demon begged him, saying, send us to the swine that we may enter them. Okay. And the result is in verse 13 that the swine, the herd ran violently, drawn down the steep place into the sea and drowned in the sea. Sometimes when people study about this passage, quite often they like to talk or discuss about this conversation. Why legion? Why asking for permission? Why entering the pig? And why pig die? Poor pig. That sometimes you see that in some discussion, people feel sorry for the swine. People say it is unfair. Why did they die? Or sometimes people perplexed, confused. What's the point to leave the human body, enter into the swine, only result in drowning in the sea? So sometimes you see that people put a lot of effort focusing upon why swine die. But in my opinion, spending our effort discussing about the death of the swine is really not the focus in this miracle. Instead, when we are looking at this recording, the miracle, that we need to look from a different perspective. Yes, we need to talk about the swine. And yes, the swine died, that they drowned. But why? Why the swine? What is the teaching for you and I today that Satan enter into the swine and cause their death, cause their perishment? Very simple, because the swine is unclean. As we know that according to Mosaic law, they are clean and unclean animals. And indeed, that swine is categorized according to Mosaic law, according to God. That swine is counted as unclean. So what is the consequence to be unclean and to stay unclean? The consequence is that Satan entered into the swine, and then they went crazy, ran down to the cliff, and all drowned in the sea. So what is that to you and I today? Today, if we are unable to stay clean, if we live in a filthy life, become the unclean in the eyes of the Lord, even we might still being very successful in what we do. We might be very achieving in our academic. We might be very successful in our future career. However, once we are unclean, unable to walk in the path of the Lord, once we are categorized as unclean, then we become vulnerable and open target for Satan to enter. So it doesn't matter how long, that once the swine is once we become unclean, then we are an open target for Satan. Once the Satan enter, then eventually the ultimate result, the ultimate destination is to drown in the sea. If we look at Revelation chapter 21, Revelation chapter 21, verse 8. Chapter 21, verse 8. But the cowardly, unbelieving, abominable, murderer, sexually immoral, sorcerers, idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burn with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. This is drowning in the sea, drowning in the lake of fire. So brothers and sisters, that the goal, when we study this passage, the main focus shall be upon that none of us, we shall never be like the unclean animal. We shall never be categorized as the unclean, that we become the target for Satan to enter and cause the eternal condemnation, the eternal perishment. So in here, when we talk about why Satan picked the swine, because it's unclean. Number two, if we go back to the Mark chapter 5. Mark chapter 5. Let's read verse 14. So those who fed the swine fled, and they told it in the city and in the country, and they went out to see what it was that had happened. Then they came to Jesus and saw that one was with him, the demon possessed, and had the legion, sitting and clothed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. And those who saw that told them how it happened to him, who had been demon possessed, and about the swine. Then they began to plead with him to depart from their region. Okay, so then here, if we focus upon now we focus upon the second group. The first group is the swine, and the teaching is very direct. If you are unclean, you are vulnerable. If you are unclean and stay unclean, the ultimate destination is the burning lake, the lake burning with fire and brimstone. That in here, when we look at the second group, and the group is the people in the city, where the herd, where they had the swine. Then here, we found that the people of the city, that they came out, want to see what happened, and they saw the demon-possessed man back in his normalcy, his normal stage. But instead, to be happy for this man, instead to shout, Hosanna, Hosanna, it was a great miracle that we found. They came out, they saw what happened, they were afraid, and they asked Jesus, leave. Don't be here, don't stay here, leave, go somewhere else, perform your miracle somewhere else, save the demon-possessed somewhere else. So the people in this city, is a bit questionable. Number one, why was there a herd of swine near their city? And here it says that the people who feed the pigs, they ran into the city and told the people in the city. As we said earlier, that this location is across from the Sea of Galilee. This location is in the territory, in the region of Israel, in the region of Judah. What does that mean? As we say that the pig is unclean, so the Jews, not only they should not eat, they do not eat the pork, none should they have pigs, the unclean animal, near their region. So the question is, since the Jews that they do not eat the pork, why and what is the point of raising pigs in the area? Because at this time, that Israel or the Jews, that they actually, because they were under the ruling, under the governing of the Roman Empire. So a lot of places, a lot of cities that the Gentile and the Jews, that they mingled, they mix, and they live in the same city. So perhaps, yeah, indeed, the Jews that they do not eat the pork, but it did not bother them to raise the swine and sell to the Gentile. Hey, we don't eat, but that's okay. You do. Okay. We Jews, we don't eat the pig, but you Gentile, you do. So I can still raise the pig and make money out of you. So that's a high possibility why, though that the Jews do not eat the pigs, but they raise a large number of swine, of pigs. For who? For money. For who? For money, selling to the Gentile. No problem that the pig is unclean, but the money is not. So then here that we found about the people in the city, that for money, that they were willing to draw near to the filth, draw near to the unclean. But you know what? That's the thing, that they are always able to justify. They are able to comfort themselves and justify by saying, but I did not eat. Yes, I own the pigs, but see, I never touched them. Yes, I raised the pig, but I am not the one feeding them. Yes, I have a lot of pigs, but see, I never eat them. I sell them. So I wash my hand clean. I have nothing to do with the pig. I hire people in here. They were people who were hired to feed the pig. So it was never me. My hand was clean. Let's read a verse. Let's turn to Nehemiah chapter 13. Nehemiah chapter 13. Chapter 13, verse 15. Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 15. In those days, I saw people in Judah trading wine press on the Sabbath and bringing in ships and loading donkey with wine, grape, figs, and all kind of burdens, which they brought into Jerusalem on the Sabbath day, and were selling provisions. Many men of Tyre dwelled there. Men of Tyre there also, who brought in fish and all kind of goods and sold them on the Sabbath to the children of Judah and in Israel. But if you read verse 17, then I contended with the noble of Judah. Okay, and say to them, what evil thing is this that you do? This is a very, if we read this verse, that the question might come up and say, hey, how is it? What is it? has anything to do with the noble of Judah. Here says that the Jewish people brought in good and sell on Sabbath. Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 15. Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 15. So if you look here, you look at this passage, you might question to yourself, hey, the people brought in the goods to sell on Sabbath. And the Gentile bring in the goods, the fish and the goods and sell on Sabbath. Thus, they did it. That's their problem. But when Nehemiah turned around, who did he spoke to? That he spoke to the noble and he contended with them. He was yelling at them and say, what is this evil that you have done? Why? Because though that the things might be done by the commoner, by the people, but who was behind all this? The nobles. The noble allowed this to happen, or even the noble encouraged it to happen. Because when people come to the city, they need to pay the fee to enter the city. When people selling in the city, in the market, they need to pay in order to do business, the tax. So the more business was done, then the more money that the noble collect. Let alone another possibility that the businesses were owned by the nobles. Send out their servants to do business. So very often people can justify, people can comfort themselves, justify, say, I didn't do it. Even I passively allow things to take place. So in here, we see what happened to the people in the city. How is that applied to our life? How does that apply to our life? That we allow things or evil to take places and comfort ourselves that we never initiated. You know that when you search, when you surf on the internet, when you are watching endless YouTube, yeah, sometimes there are things popping up, unclean things that popping up. But you can always say to yourself, I never clicked it, it just came up. No, this is the time that you reach over and you click it off. Instead of, hey, I didn't do it, it just came out on its own. I rent the movie and there were things just in the movie. What am I going to do? It's only like, 15 seconds of the entire movie. I am passively accepting the reality. That's another problem that we see in our generation. Like the people in the city, that they passively allow things to happen. Yeah, I never raise the pig myself. I hire people. I never eat the pork. Yeah, I sell it to the Gentile. So I am innocent. I am clean. But see what happened. So the result is that evil enter into the swine and the swine die. And the people in the city suffer the greatest loss, isn't it? They suffer so much. They lost so much money. Here says 2,000 swine. That's a huge number. Means a lot of money. But the weird thing is, now they eyewitness a great miracle, right? The eyewitness a great miracle that a crazy man, a demon-possessed man, returned and regained his clear mind. However, we did not find anyone, not a single person, shouting in joy, thankful for the poor man who had been possessed by demons. No, we did not see anyone rejoice for the miracle. We did not see anyone showing mercy and pity for the demon-possessed man. But we only found the people in the city fearful and asked Jesus, leave. Why do they need to ask Jesus to leave? We do not know. Yes, they were afraid. Afraid of what? Afraid of what? Why did they in such an urge and say to Jesus, leave us, go somewhere else? One possibility, they were afraid the same thing might happen again. What is the same thing? The same thing is they want to raise pig for money. What happened if Jesus show up again and all of the pigs die again? How many times do we need to suffer and how much money we need to lose? Jesus, can you just go somewhere else and save other people? So then here we found that the people in the city, that their focus were never about the great miracle that Jesus performed. Their heart was never with the pitiful man who has been shouting in agony, living in the tomb day and night. No, their focus is only upon Jesus, can you leave so we can raise pigs again, that we need the money. So it was very unfortunate. And the result is that the people in the city of Gadarenes, that they had Jesus with them, they had miracle and signs, they were the first-hand witness the power of Jesus, but they end up with nothing. Oh, I shouldn't say nothing. They end up with a great loss. Not only they did not receive any blessing, but they end up with great loss, and they suffered the great loss for nothing. Think about it. If you suffer greatly, you lost a lot, but then you found, and then you are able to find salvation. It's worth it. All the suffering means something. All the tribulation is never in vain if you were able to find Jesus. But unfortunately for them, that after the great loss, that the only thing that they want is for Jesus to leave them, for they enjoy the life with swine. They enjoy the life of uncleanness, and that's the result that Jesus left. So brothers and sisters, our environment, our surrounding, our day in and day out, our daily life, every day present a choice. Every day is a challenge. Now, do you want to follow Jesus and find everlasting life, or you enjoy living next to the swine in the unclean life? Even you come here, even you have NYTS, even you are TJC member, even you have RE class, even you have Bible. But if you tend to dwell yourself in the pig swine, next to the swine, if you enjoy the uncleanness when no one is there watching you, then the consequences that eventually Jesus left. Jesus will leave. Lastly, if we look at this man, as we see that this man who suffered greatly living in the tomb and shout in great agony, possessed by demon, life was ruined. But then Jesus came into his life and brought mercy and grace to his life. But what happened after that? If you look at chapter 5, verse 15. Now they found this man, the demon-possessed man, sitting and clothed and in his right mind. Okay, and let's read another verse. In verse 18, and when he got into the boat, he who had been demon-possessed begged him that he might be with him. However, Jesus did not permit him, but said to him, "Go home to your friend and tell them what great things the Lord has done for you." Okay, so then here we found that for an awakening person, that once the demon were cast out of him, a few things must be done. Number one, sit and closed. Sit and close. Sit, compared to the beginning of chapter, who were unrestrained, right? Even they chain him, even they bind him with the chain, but unable to bind him. Okay? They put the shackles, they put the chains, but he pulled it apart because he was unrestrained. But now he was sitting in front of Jesus, means order and control. So if you are unrestrained, meaning if you always have this strong urge, I do whatever I want, I am the ruler of my life, then you are still demon possessed. Like this man, unrestrained. I do anything. I cannot be bounded. Nobody chain me. I am free. Don't you dare to tell me what to do. Not the Bible, not Jesus, and not the church. Then in fact, you are no different than this man, unrestrained. So the sight of a person who were healed by Jesus begin with sitting. Able to sit well in order, able to sit in front of Jesus and submit. Number two, he put down the clothes. Okay, he wore the clothes. Here says that he put the clothes on. He was well clothed. And then if you look at Revelation, in Revelation, what did it say? It says that in Revelation chapter 16, Revelation chapter 16, regarding to the clothes. Revelation chapter 16, verse 15. Behold, I am coming as a thief. Blessed is he who watches and keep his garment, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. Okay, this is called closed. Closed with what? Closed with the righteousness of Jesus, closed with the words of Jesus, closed with the salvation of Jesus. So then here, the man, he was in order and he was covered by the mercy of Jesus. That's the second thing. And number three, here says that he was clear in his right mind. What is clear in his right mind? Once a person's mind is clear, means that the person was able to tell right and wrong. The person was able to tell what is more valuable, your value system. So we see that if a person without demon immersed in the mercy of Jesus, he sits, he closed, and he is in his right mind. And all these three are what we need. We need to be in order, following the teaching in the Bible. We need to be close, be thankful, knowing that we are redeemed and clean by his blood. And we need to be in our right mind, able to see through all the temptation of Satan and knowing what is the true value that you and I must pursue after. And lastly, here says he want to follow Jesus. He begged, Jesus, can I go with you? Jesus said, no. Jesus said, go back to your hometown, to your friend, to your family, and testify to them what a great thing has been done to you. So Jesus did not want him to follow. Or in fact, what does it mean by following Jesus? Following Jesus is not only about physical follow. Jesus said, yeah, you can follow me by go back to your hometown and preach the gospel. So when we are in here cultivating, praying, for what reason? What is the true intention of all the classes, all the learning, all the prayer, all the cultivation, all the reading? The purpose is we can go out to the world and tell the world what a great thing has been done to us. We call that following Jesus. So brothers and sisters, now we are all awakened. We are all men in our right mind. We are all immersed in the mercy of Jesus. So make sure that we sit well, dress properly, in our right mind, knows what is good, and determined to follow Jesus by preaching his gospel. Then we will be a man of blessing, loved by Jesus. Now we're going to kneel down and pray in one accord. May God continue to guide our NYTS and PMVP. Let's all pray. Please unmute yourself. Okay, let's all kneel down and pray in one accord. In the name of Lord Jesus Christ, we pray.
En el santo nombre del Señor Jesucristo, vamos a orar.
Now lead me God and let me stand by faith on heaven's tableland, a higher plan than I have found. Lord, plant my feet on high the ground. Lord, let me down and let me stand by faith on heaven's tableland, a higher plan than I have found. Lord, plant my feet on high the ground.